Welcome to the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken. This show is your call to awaken to the truth of your being through the teachings of the Voice of Oneness, spoken by Amara. On this show, you will receive spiritual guidance and the teachings of oneness from the heart of spirit directly to your heart, along with the tools and techniques to apply these teachings to your day-to-day life. Tuning in each week, you will grow in a deeper, richer understanding of your true nature as teachings are offered about universal spiritual laws that govern our lives. You will learn the right use and application of these laws to achieve the richest life from the perspective of experiencing abundance in all areas of your life. Amara Bonet is a renowned psychic, spiritual teacher, coach, energy healer, mystic, and gifted visionary who taps into the higher realms to join with the vast collective of source energy. Now, your host of Voice of Oneness, Amara Bonet.
Welcome, folks, to the Voice of Oneness, Your Call to Awaken podcast, where each week we present an enlightening and thought-provoking podcast that serves individuals seeking a deeper connection to themselves, to others, and to the spirit world. Through the teachings of oneness, deeper connection to the presence within, the God within. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker, or someone just beginning your awakening journey, we offer a safe space for exploration, understanding, growth, and transformation. So to begin tonight, I'm going to briefly state that our contest for a free 30-minute reading with me continues. I believe this is the last week. So if you'd like to participate, all you need to do is in the comments section, just comment, say, count me in, and then pick a number from 1 to 10. And at the end of the broadcast, I will pick a number, and the one closest to it, or the one that hits it right on the nose, is the one that gets that reading. And in order to claim that reading, you need to send me your email to Amara, and it's on the screen, AUMARA, and then AUMARA bonet.com, at amarabonet.com, and I'll go ahead and schedule that reading. And I want to make it clear that when you're sending me your email, it's not for me to capture your email and ever send you another email other than your scheduled appointment confirmation. I don't operate like that. I don't collect, sneaky around to collect people's emails. If you want something from me, you reach out to me. I'm there and I provide. And that's how I roll. I don't collect people's, do things to collect emails. That's not my thing. So, thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight's theme is Empower Your Everyday, a guide to daily balance. And isn't that so important at this time? Finding balance, coming into balance. That is what we all are to aspire to come into balance. And why I say that is because balance is our natural state of being. It's our natural state of being. When we look around us and we look at nature is always in balance. Everything in creation is meant to be in balance. Can we swing out of balance? Yes, and we do. And it's for us to bring ourselves back into balance. I'm going to sneak away to film my one. Okay. Okay. All right. Take it. Okay. All right. So we want to come back into balance. So when I read the comments, I get distracted. I'm easily distracted. I can't tune anything out. Never could. So excuse me if I get distracted for a moment. So we want to focus on bringing our lives into balance. Now, when we begin to focus on balance, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that brings us to that? It's experiencing some part of our daily rounds, our lives, where we recognize that we're out of balance. We're spending too much time in one area. We're too focused. We don't have enough time for things that bring us joy. We may not have enough time to relax. We may be so stressed from the things that go on in our lives, but we recognize the need to balance. And we'll say things like, I'm so out of balance, or maybe we feel like we're coming apart at the seams, or we're too stressed, or we're starting to feel our body sending us strong messages that we need to make a change quickly before we wind up becoming ill. Or we might have passed that threshold and we already are experiencing that out of balance state manifested in our physical body, or our emotional body, or our mental body, or our spiritual body. And if that's the case, that's okay, because we can work with that. We could recognize it, and then we begin to take the action steps to bring about a change. We can always bring about a change. All we need to do is become aware that there's something going on that needs to be addressed. Because many times we could be in such busyness, a busy state of being, that we're not even aware that we're not acknowledging other aspects of our self. So we want to focus on physical, our physical state, our mental state, our emotional state, and our spiritual state. Those are the most important, foremost important, that we need to pay attention to. Make sure that we are giving ourselves enough time available to tend to the needs of each of those states of being, and not just one. And spoken from somebody who speaks from experience, who for a good 20 years or more gave almost all of my attention to my spiritual and not my physical, that I had to then work with that and make the changes that needed to be made to bring myself back into balance. But when I was in the thrust of it, I was just so consumed by what I was doing and studying and moving through life, and really just enjoying myself so much that I didn't realize that I was not paying enough attention to my physical aspects. And that presented itself when I started to become exhausted. So we want to pay attention, self-reflect on where we are in our daily experience. How do we feel about the life of which we're living? Are we satisfied, or are we seeking to create a change? And that's important to acknowledge, if we're seeking to create a change. Okay. So, we want to talk about living a life in balance. And I always like to start with some quotes. That's the way I like to work into it. So, the first quote is from Louise Hay, and it's, "No person, no place, and no thing has power over us, for we are the only thinkers in our mind. When we create peace and harmony and balance in our minds, we will find it in our lives, created first in our minds to experience it in the outer world, in our lives. We must create it first." From the Voice of Oneness team, one of their daily whispers: "When you are not balanced and centered, life appears to jostle you around a bit. You call it chaos, yet the clarity you seek is within this chaos. All you need do is find your balance." So that's letting us know that the balance is not something that we need to purchase. It's not something that we need to find. It's not something that someone else can give us. It's something that we learn to create. We create it from within. It is within us, each of us. As each being is taught to balance, a natural effect of inner peace is achieved, and this is what is expressed into the outer world. This inner peace is the change that fosters unity consciousness. And that's from the Voice of Oneness. So when we're going to discuss balance tonight, because there's so many ways to approach this, we're going to discuss it from the spiritual perspective. And the spiritual perspective is honoring ourselves and our growth and our expansion of consciousness. And it requires, as any practice does, it requires action. So when we begin to look in the direction of balance, and we are, because we are pointed in that direction, because we're prompted to, because we're feeling out of balance, we're recognizing, whoa, I need to take steps to come into a balanced state of being here. Then we set our intention to enter into a practice that assists us in achieving balance. So there are things that we can do. There are rituals, there are practices, there are all sorts of things we can do, and we're going to talk about those in just a moment to help us come into balance. So leading a balanced life from the metaphysical perspective involves recognizing, nurturing the interconnectedness of the physical, the mental, the emotional, and spiritual dimensions of our being. It is aligning ourselves with the deeper aspects of existence to promote harmony, growth, and self-awareness. So to promote harmony, growth, and that self-awareness. And when we are coming to balance, now we're into a healthy state of being. We're managing our energy in alignment with source. And there creates the flow of which is the life that we are to join with and ride that wave, so to speak. Mind-body state alignment. Understand you're a holistic being with interconnected layers. We are spirit in a physical form, having a human experience. We are spirit in a physical form, in a physical body, having a human experience. We are not a human having a spiritual experience. We got it backwards. We are spirit having a human experience. We're experiencing ourselves through the senses here in the physical world, the physical senses. We are very much in learning how to handle our emotions. Emotions are a big part of our experience. And we're learning how to balance the emotions, not to be controlled by them, but bringing them into balance so they work with us and for us and not against us. And that's part of the physical life experience, part of human life. We're here as spirit. Spirit, we are love incarnated to realize that we are love in a field that's very dense, and it's not overflowing at the moment with the experiences of love. It's very much filled with the lower density expression of fear. So we're learning how to navigate that, and we're learning how to bring ourselves into more loving conditions and how to enter into self-love, love of self, not in a sense of a conceited sense or a self-serving sense, but in the sense of coming into understanding of that which we are by the true nature of our being. We can study and we can read books and listen to podcasts, but the real growth occurs through the experiencing of that which we're learning about. So we can discuss balance and the things we can do to get into balance. The challenge lies in the stepping into action, to applying the steps that we're going to talk about. And I say the challenge because what comes up is resistance, the energy of resistance. It comes up in the form of, very familiar to us, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. I don't have enough time. I couldn't possibly, step into mindfulness or meditation. I can't quiet my mind. I've got to keep going. I've got to keep myself busy. I don't want to look any deeper. That's resistance. My day is so full. How could I possibly add more to my plate? That's resistance. Oh, I never stick to anything. I'll start it, but I'll never stick to it. So why bother? That's resistance. And believe me, I've heard all these excuses. So those are just a sampling of a few. You know your own. You get real with yourself and you know your own. You know what comes up for you. But I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that if you're feeling out of balance, that you apply some of the techniques here that I'm speaking about, or that which comes to you by the asking of what can I possibly do to come to have a more peaceful, more harmonious life. When you ask that, you put that energy out into the field, you're naturally going to come across things that are in resonance with your question. So you'll come across a podcast by chance. Well, you'll think it's by chance, but it's not. A book or someone, a conversation, but you'll come across it. Okay. Good evening, Courtney. Hello. Much love to you. So the first thing we want to do is realize that we are this holistic being, that there are many layers to us. There are many things. When I say layers too, when we've got our how do we move forward? Okay, Marcy, great question. Okay, so we've got many layers to us, and one thing, we've got our conscious awareness. We know what we're within our conscious framework. We know what we want. We know what we're focused on. We're doing a task. I'm focused on doing a podcast. You're focused on being a listener. That we've got in the conscious mind. But in the subconscious, what's the undercurrent, what's flowing through, and what's leading us and guiding us to make our decisions that we make and imprinting upon us what we choose. That's that part of a layer that we don't understand. That part, it's not in our awareness. That shows up first as a sense of being out of balance. And then we feel out of balance. We may say, I don't know what it is. There's something. Even resistance. Marcy's asking about resistance. How do we move forward? Well, we recognize resistance. We recognize that we're not moving forward, but we don't know what's really holding us back. We don't know how to move forward. So there's a lot of ways to work with resistance, Marcy. And tonight we're discussing several techniques for coming into balance. So if we start to apply these techniques, that which is behind the resistance will start to bubble up into our awareness, and we'll get an aha moment. Well, that the action that we take, the intention that we take to come into balance will bring it forward. But we must take action. We can't sit and go, okay, I've got resistance. Now I don't know what to do, and not take any action. We want to start to take action in the direction of that which brings us joy, in the direction of that which is calling to us to explore. Despite resistance, we want to go in the direction of. So that means I set my sight on it. I set my sight on it. When we think, okay, we're about to say we finished high school and we're about to go off to college, and we have our first big decision to make. What do we want to study? What do we want to do? For those that go to college, those that do not go, okay, we're entering the job field. What do I want to do? Where do I want to begin? There's choices to be made. There's decisions to be made. So we set ourselves in the direction of that which we feel is a good fit for us, and then we start to explore that. So this is the same process. We set ourselves in the direction of that which we are desiring, that which we are perhaps dreaming about, that which we, come to recognize is something we'd like to explore. And then we focus on that, not the resistance, not on the not having it. We focus on the having, and we move in the direction of. So that's one way to do it. We can do that through a process called visualization. Everything is created twice. First in the mind. It's a mental activity. First in the mind. We create it in our mind. We hold it in our mind. We visualize it in our mind, or we feel it by claiming it in the mind. And then we let it go. And now it goes and it comes into physical form. But we must hold it first in the mind. So we begin to play, we begin to visualize, we begin to dream. We begin to play with our imagination, that faculty that is so powerful within us, that beautiful gift that we have called imagination. And we begin to allow ourselves to step into that field and play with it. What does it feel like to be working in the field that I've chosen? What does it feel like? What will it feel like when I graduate and I'm actually going on an interview? What will it feel like when I get the job? What will I be doing? That kind of imagination formulation within our mind about what it actually will appear like. That's one example. So we know that we are the holistic being with interconnected layers. So we want to cultivate practices that nourish the body, mind, and spirit. Nourish the body, mind, and spirit. If we're feeling out of balance in, say, the area of our physical body, we've neglected ourselves, we haven't been exercising, and we really know, and we understand that this physical apparatus here, this body, needs movement. We are energy. We are energy. Energy is always in motion. We need movement. If we are sitting for far too long, or we're lying down for far too long, and we have the ability to get up and move, where there's not something going on that has us contained to that state, we have the ability to get up and move. We must get up and move. So we need to do that. Hey, no reading. Yes, we are doing the reading. Courtney, make sure that you stay on with me to the end, because we need to book your reading from last week, because we had a no reaching out to my email, so I wasn't able to book. So my email's on the screen, amora@amorabonet.com. So if you are the winner of the contest this week or one of the weeks prior, you must reach out to me and say, hey, I'd like to schedule, and this is the days that I'm available. These are the times, and then we'll find a good time and we'll make it happen. So no worries. Be in motion. What body in motion stays in motion. Yeah, stays in motion until it hits something that it stops. But no. But yes, we want to be in motion. We want to be in motion because it puts us in the power state. It puts us in our mental, emotional power state when we're in motion. That things can move, the energy moves through the body. We're not holding it back. It's not being suppressed. We're free to move. So we want to move. So if we're recognizing that we're in the area of exercise and physical activity, that we need to give ourselves some more time and develop a practice, then we do that. But we also want to make sure that we're not going to neglect other areas of our life and amp up the exercise. So we want to remind ourselves the key word is balance. Balance, balance, balance. So that we can stay in balance. Because if we overdo it in the exercise area, we will fatigue the physical body and we will create stress in the system, which wreaks havoc with digestion, wreaks havoc with sleep. It has many, many effects, and you'll see that happening in your life experience when you're out of balance. So balance, balance, balance is the key. So for that, we want to look at meditation. When we realize that we want to work with all areas, the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, we can do that by a practice of meditation. We can do it through energy healing. And this is just the first step. This is one way we can do it. But there's a way that I want to talk about for a moment. And it's what I know very well because it's a part of my life. And it's called the Miracle Morning Practice. And the author of this Miracle Morning Practice, some of you may have heard of it or may also participate in it. It's very well known, is Hal, Hal, Elrod, Elrod. And this Miracle Morning Practice is a way of coming into balance, and it addresses all areas of the life. Now, I'm not an affiliate of this. I don't get anything by promoting Hal's book or his practice. I promote it because I believe in it and I know it works. And how do I know that? Because it's worked in my life. Because I've applied it and I know it works. So when I have something and I personally have experienced the benefits, I will always share. So I'm passing this forward, playing it forward, and sharing. So it is Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And very briefly, I'm not going to go too into the detail, but very briefly, and you can buy the book or look at his YouTube and you'll see the practice. He does a morning practice where you're getting up out of bed before you normally would. So maybe it's an hour earlier. That is suggested. If it could be a half hour earlier, that can work too. So there's all ways to apply this practice. There's all different times that we can give to the different aspects of the practice. We can give 10 minutes. There's 6 different steps. If we gave each step 10 minutes, then that's 60 minutes. If we cut them down to 6 minutes apiece, now we change the time. If we cut them down to even we're rushed, we can do 3 minutes apiece. It still impacts our day, our mental state, emotional state, physical state, and spiritual. So the practice, the first part it's called savers, the S. The S is for silent. That's meditation. So it means that we sit down for however much time that we have. If it's 10 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, it's whatever it is in the time that we've allotted and how early we got up in the morning. We close our eyes, we take a breath in, we center ourselves, focusing on just sitting and communing with our own energy, that which we are, aligning to source, just letting ourselves be. We don't try to stop a mind because we're not going to achieve that. The mind's very busy. We just let the mind go where it needs to go, and we just bring ourselves back. Then we just take a breath in and out. Oh, my awareness is here. This is my moment. My awareness is here. I just focused on my breath. And then we just sit quietly. And if our mind starts to wander again, we just focus on the breath and bring ourselves back. And we do that for however many minutes. So that's the S. The next is A, for affirmations. So we would have written down a series of affirmations that apply to us, our own things that we want to affirm in our life. We want to affirm, I'm a divine being of love and light. We can affirm that. I am in optimal health, whatever it may be, that we need to affirm. Each of us knows what's going on and what we need to affirm. So we're going to affirm the things that are important to us. We do that for however many minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever we want. So that's the A. Then we go to the V, which is visualization. We take time to visualize. We take time to visualize. So in our mind, we're creating a vision and we're just staying with that vision for however many minutes. So we've got the meditation, the affirmation, the visualization. So here we're working on the mental, we're working on the spiritual, we're working on the emotional. So that's being worked on with just those three activities. Then we go into the E, because we're spelling savers. Savers. E is exercise. So whatever exercise you can do in the time that you have, whether it's, movement, whether it's you have time to take a run, whether personally I do yoga. So that's my time for yoga. So I do my yoga. So we do that for however long we've got. And then we go from the E, we go to the R, which is reading. So we pick something to read and we give ourselves a specific time to read it. So that's mental stimulation. And then we finish up with the S, which is scripting, which is journaling. So we're just writing something in a journal for however many minutes. This practice sets the framework for your day. This will impact your life in a positive way. I if you can, and if it resonates with you, look it up. If it feels good, apply it. You will be amazed at how quickly you feel the effects and how it impacts your day. Taking those steps, getting up, first of all, you're getting up a little earlier in the day, so you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So that right away signals to the mind you're making a change. You're not just doing the same thing the same way. You're stepping out. You're doing something out of your comfort zone. And when you step out, you're doing something out of your comfort zone. Now you're into the practice of, I'm going to be meditating, I'm going to be affirming, I'm going to be visualizing, I'm going to be exercising, I'm going to be reading, and I'm going to be journaling. Now that sounds like a lot, but you could do that, each of those in 6 minutes each. You give what you can to commit to yourself for your well-being, for your balance. And as you go through it, you might find that it feels so good, you want even more time. So you might adjust your schedule so it fits even more. Or maybe it doesn't work for you in the morning. It's advised that you do it in the morning, but it can also work in the evening. It could work at your lunch break. I have this time on my lunch break and I'm going to, dedicate 1/2 hour to this practice or whatever it may be. But commit to yourself is the important part. You've got to commit to yourself that you're going to enter into a practice. Do something that will benefit you. So that's number 1. Number 2, energy awareness. Recognize that everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions carry an energetic vibration. So our thoughts, we think they're just something in our mind, and they're just the thought and they're ours. They have an energetic vibration to them. They don't stay here in the mind. They go out into the field. They have an energetic vibration to them. The thoughts that we are thinking so many hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day. Some we focus on, very few we focus on. The rest we don't. They just spin around and they're just energy in motion. But that which we focus on and that we add more momentum to imprints our experience. So when we're very busy, our mind might be thinking things, and usually they're not positive unless we are very self-aware and we are working on keeping ourselves in a positive state of mind, state of being. We want to choose thoughts and experience emotions that are uplifting. So I say choose thought and experience emotion because we're all at different places. We're all at different levels of awareness. We're all at our own unique place. And we're experiencing life from that point, from the place of which we are. Life meets us and there we experience. So some of us may not be having such a wonderful experience at the moment. So to think and say, okay, now I've got to change my thoughts to positive. Well, I'm not experiencing positive, and that's very hard because I'm feeling very down. And That is right where you are at the moment. That's beautiful. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge this is how I'm feeling. And then ask yourself, is this where I want to stay? And if the answer to that is, I do not wish to stay in this space, then ask yourself where you wish to go. So you can say, okay, I'm feeling very fatigued. I really want to be in the space of where I feel more energy. I feel more alive. I feel more vibrant. That's beautiful. So now you've got something that you can visualize. You can visualize yourself in a more energetic, vibrant state of being. And what would you be doing? And would you be walking through the woods, or would you be strolling a beach, or what would you be doing? We all have different desires of what we'd like to do. So you just say, okay, I want to be more energetic. So then I've got my visualization because I know where I want to go, but now I also want to affirm that too. I want a positive thought. I want to affirm that. So I want to affirm, I am in the process of evolving to a higher state of awareness, one of which I am experiencing all the energy that I desire to live the life that I really want to live. That's an example. So we want to not say, okay, I am that, because the mind's going to go, nah. Okay. You want to say, I am in the process of unfolding. I am becoming more and more energized with each and every breath. Therefore, we don't have that resistance. There's no resistance in that. We're able to move forward with that. So that's a way that we can bring about the thoughts working for us and the emotion. Another way with emotion, we think back, and we all have something within our memory that we can think back to a beautiful place we visit or experience we had with somebody, a happy event, something that was happy, a beautiful place, a happy event. And we just tune into that and we experience that. We let that energy flow through our body. We experience that in the moment, right as we're calling it forth. We allow ourselves to feel the joy in our heart. We allow our heart to open. We allow ourselves to have that experience. Oh, it feels so good. We can do that. And that's another way to shift the emotions and go into something that's uplifting and inspiring. We engage in activities that resonate with our higher self. We all know when we're feeling out of balance, when we're feeling that we are not in resonance with our higher self. And it's a matter of taking the steps to bring us back into resonance. And we can do that. We can do that. So, number 3, intuition and inner wisdom. Develop your intuition and listen to your inner guidance, trusting your intuition. Align with your authentic path and purpose. If you're comfortable aligning with your authentic path and purpose. Everyone has their own way of tapping in, of tuning in. It's not that there's any one way. There's no right way to do it. You got to do it this way. You got to take these 10 steps, and that will get you to tune into your intuition. Your intuition is that still small voice within. It's the presence within us. It's never in absence. It's always there. Whether or not we are in recognition of its presence is up to us, but it's always there. So if we are wanting to tune in and tap into our intuition, we have to release the resistance, what is keeping us from it. Are we far too busy in our mental activity? Are we far too busy in our belief about who we are? Oh, I am. And then we rattle off the story of who we are. So we're far too busy, far too deeply involved in the story to listen to that subtle, small, still voice within. Means I've got to acknowledge that I've got this story over here, but I want to expand this story. I want to tune into my intuition. I want to be in a safe space. Some of us can create within our homes what we call our own sacred space, our own sanctuary within our homes. Some of us might not have that available to us. And if that's the case, then we need to find it outside of the home. We need to find it in the backyard, in a walk down the road, in a park, by a beach, on a beach, wherever it may be. But we want to find our space that we can be by ourselves, and we can sit down and we can just focus on our own energy. We can just let ourselves just be and focus on our own energy. We can begin to meditate. That's one way. Another way, if I'm really having trouble and I feel I'm not able to tune in, and I'm working on learning how to connect with my intuition, I could use something called oracle cards. You can go and get yourself some oracle cards, whichever resonate with you. And then you could begin by pulling oracle cards, maybe a daily card, or doing a spread, and see what is being given through the cards, because the cards are working with your energy, with your higher self, with your energy to provide you with messages. That's another way. Another way is to notice what you notice in your environment. Notice the people. Notice the sights around you. Notice the animals that come into your life, the insects that come into your life. Notice colors. Notice what you notice, the things that pop out to you. And then look up the spiritual meaning. You can just Google it online, spiritual meaning of an eagle, if you see an eagle flying overhead or whatever it may be. And that will help give you insight. And you start to play with that. You start to form a practice of really noticing what you notice in your environment. So you're getting, the universe is speaking to you, and it's speaking to you in the way of which you can receive it in the moment. And that is through noticing the signs. So that's another way. So there's all different ways to approach this. It's what resonates with you, what makes you feel most comfortable, what you feel you are able to do at the time, what you want to do. Those are the determinants. Next is the soulful expression. Engage in creative activities that allow you to express your authentic self. Creative expression can be a powerful way to connect with your spirit and bring balance to your life. So I love to paint. I love to do art and play with colors. I love pastels. I do things that takes me and puts me in my zone where everything else can just fall away, because I'm focused on something. I'm focused on the creating of something. So we all have, and I've heard some people say, oh, I'm not creative at all. This is not true. Okay, this is not true. Everyone has creative energy within them. It may be pushed down a lot because we've conditioned ourselves to be so practical and efficient that we are not in tune with our creative part. But we can say, okay, I can enter into some aspect. If it's exercise, I can add some new movement into my exercise routine. If it's writing, I could write. I could do some creative writing. I could begin to write a story that I'll just begin to write it for myself and see where it goes. No pressure, no stress. Painting. Do something outside of your comfort zone. That could be, okay, I join a group. I join a social group. I join a book club. Whatever it is that is outside of your comfort zone that you are willing to step into, because it will make a powerful shift for you energetically. But you've got to step out of the comfort zone. You've got to step into it in order to realize that energy, that shift. Number 5, mindfulness and presence. Practice mindfulness. Become fully present in each moment. Being present helps you transcend past regrets and future worries. I am right here, right now, in this moment. The only thing we each have is our awareness. And if we really drill it down, We're aware that we're here in the moment. I'm aware that I'm speaking. You're aware that you're listening. But outside of that, we don't know exactly who we are in that, other than the action that we're aware of in the moment. Who's listening? Who's speaking? Those get into more deeper explorations. But we can say right here, right now, I'm aware that I'm speaking. You're aware that you're listening. So in our moment, right here, right now, whatever we choose to do, if we pick up a book, in that moment, we're focused on the words of that book. So we're present with that book. And if we read that book and we're focused on that book, then we will get from that book that information. If we begin to read the book and we bring our worries, our concerns of life into that reading, then we won't be able to concentrate. We'll get frustrated and we'll put the book down. So we want to be aware of that we are in the present moment, the moment of our choosing. So if I go to read the book and I cannot concentrate because something's got my mind, I've allowed my mind to be held elsewhere, then I close the book and I do something to release that energy. So it's more than likely going to be movement of the physical body. It may be just to dance around, make some playful movements. It could be just to laugh, to begin to laugh, and to just like a child, if you've ever experienced it yourself, I'm sure you have, or you've seen a child, they laugh and they can't stop and they just fall down. They're just laughing so hard and they don't know why they're laughing. But we laugh, we force ourselves, ha 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 ha. We have just laugh, laugh, laugh for a few minutes. That shifts the energy. That gives us an energy shift. So we do what we can to work with where we're at, remembering that when we're working with where we're at, we're honoring ourselves. We're honoring ourselves. We're bringing mindfulness into it. We're mindful of where we are and we're working with it. And then we always say to the self, okay, right where I am, where is it that I'm moving towards? And if it's to be free of the worry, then say, okay, I am moving in the direction of being free from this worry. And then what would that look like? What would that feel like? What do I need to do to free myself from this worry? And then take those steps. The next is gratitude and abundance. Cultivate the attitude of gratitude. That brings blessings into your life. And we want to do that in the morning and at night. So we've got, if like myself, I do the miracle morning practice, so I journal. And I typically journal, what's on my mind, what I'm thinking about. Or if I can't get, anything coming into my mind that I want to write about, I'll write about the other processes of the morning miracle that I've done so far. What was my visualization like? What was my meditation like? I'll just examine those. Writing for gratitude is a different step. So that's something in addition to the morning savers that we do. And we could do it at any time. And it doesn't have to take long. It just can be acknowledgement. And it at best be as soon as we're waking up in the morning before we even get out of bed. One or two quick things of which we are in gratitude for. That puts us in that state of energy. So before we get up, just waking up, okay, I am in gratitude that I'm so happy and grateful that I woke up this morning, that I'm still here, I'm alive. I get to experience this day. How beautiful. That's the thing to be in gratitude for, or whatever it may be for you. One or two things in the morning, and then at night before we start to fall asleep, we want to recite within our minds one or two things that we are grateful for. And that creates what's called the Tetris effect. Right before we wake up in the morning, as we're waking up, and right before we fall asleep, what we affirm within our mind goes directly to the subconscious mind. It imprints at that state, that mental state that we're in at that time, that energy, that theta state. So we want to do that as best we can in the morning and at night. So that's the time that really. Courtney, yes, you did win. You won last week. I just scrolled down and saw your question there. So you did. Another thing that we want to be mindful of is eating. Eating. What we are eating. What we are eating is important as far as what we're putting into our body and how we take the food in. Not just driving down the highway eating my breakfast as I'm moving through traffic in a very stressed state of being. That's taking your food in with stress. So that's not beneficial to your body. You want to sit and be mindful of the food that you are eating. You want to make choices of the very best foods that you can with what you have. You want to pick those things that are in more of their natural state. Be aware of the chemicals of which you put into your body as best you can. You want to eat more whole, more natural foods to nourish your body. Pay attention to your body after you eat your foods. How does your body feel 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, 1 hour later? Are you tired? Do you want to take a nap? Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel energized? Pay attention to how the foods affect your body, and then place in your body the foods that are beneficial to you. The ones that are not, discard. Also, the food that we eat is the thoughts that we think and the words that we say. Be very, very aware of what you are thinking and speaking. What comes out of your mouth is far more important than what goes in. What comes out, the power of your words, the vibration. You want to make sure that what is coming out of your mouth is that which uplifts you and others. You want to be careful that you are not dissing yourself or any other, that you are not condemning yourself or any other. That's bad food. That's not good. Not good for your energy, not good for your balance, not good for the planet, not good for the world. So be aware of what words you speak. And we can all do this. And if we're used to complaining and we're used to raving and ranting, that's okay. But now, hear these words. Now's the time to pay attention. And now's the time to decide what it is you want to put into the world with conscious awareness. Choose that which is empowering. That's being mindful there in that practice. Okay, so we'll leave off right there. That's a number of things that you can do to balance your body. So, anyone entering new this week for the Win the Reading, the 30-minute reading with me? I'm not seeing anyone here. If you, Marcy, if you're still on and you want to enter, Jess, if you want to enter, Courtney, you've already won from last week, so we're going to go ahead and book your appointment. Anybody else? If you're in, just type into the comments, say I'm in. And if not, then we're just going to go ahead and we'll just say Courtney is the winner from last week, and we need to. Okay, Marcy, you want to enter? Okay, so Marcy, you're in. Beautiful. Okay, anybody else? Marcy's in. We have Courtney. Jess, do you want to try? You're in. For anybody else on the line? If you're in, just say I'm in and just pick a number from 1 to 10. And if Marcy, if you're the only one that's going to enter this week, then you, of course, will be a winner. Okay, Anne says she's in. Okay, Anne and Marcy, what I need you to do is pick a number from 1 to 10 and type it in the comments. Okay, and my number that I got, I just wrote it down. I just wrote down my number 7, Marcy. So Marcy, you win. Okay, Anne was 8. Okay, very close, Anne. Very close. So Marcy, you're the winner. Congratulations. So Marcy and Courtney, I need you to send me an email to my email at Amora, AUMARA, at amorabone.com. Okay? Marcy and Courtney is on the screen. Beautiful. It's right in the comments. So send me an email to schedule with me, and then we'll make a time that's convenient for you and I, and we'll do your 30-minute free reading. I thank you for entering the contest, and I thank all of you for listening tonight, or if you're listening to the replay, thank you for tuning in. If ever you have any questions on anything that I've presented, email me at amorabone.com your question, and I will respond to you. Thank you very much. Blessings to all. May you walk in balance with each and every breath. Good night.
The truth is here and now on WLTKDB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.